What is up, D-Tube, Steam blockchain, Palnets? Today I want to talk a little bit about the information technology eating the world. So I've seen some people make quotes as that Bitcoin or that crypto is eating the world, but I would say that it's more that information technology is eating the world. And it is slightly different, and I do also see the other argument that, of course, crypto at the same time is sort of going to eat the world, but I think it's more accurate to say information technology eating the world. What is information technology? Well, we're moving into cyberspace more and more. It means that I think already right now 30% of people's time is spent doing some cyberspace thing. And what is the deal with the cyberspace? It's information technology. Sure, we're using it for different things, entertainment purposes. That is becoming more and more abundant for every day that goes. We're using it to get knowledge, which is gonna get more and more abundant as we move forward. This means that the more this goes on, the more information or knowledge basically spreads about what is the best way of doing things, what is the ideal ways, what is it that is working with information technology, what is it that doesn't work. And eventually, using pattern recognition, you're eventually going to see, or a lot of systems are going to come to this point where they see that, okay, we can see that information technology is sort of working because it sort of is making everything more lighter. The information technology is eventually going to lead humans to a point where they have the ultimate measured device, and the ultimate device of be able to govern stuff easy and light, and be able to reward stuff in a light way, but still doing it so it works. So when people's concept of value moves from hard physical to more soft, to more light, to more efficient, that is going to dramatically tweak a lot of things. So the less that we need to reward something, and the less value, for example, we need to spend to make something happen, the better. So not just the reward aspect, but that society sort of tries to move into this phase where people do not have to always increase their cost. So the cool thing with information technology is that it can really handle a lot of the core stuff that a human desires. The reward mechanism. And we can see how information technology is just going to keep eating every single industry. We see that YouTube is quite heavy. The reason why YouTube is heavy is because it has a lot of infrastructure that is not really needed anymore. We can use IPFS, we can have some light blockchain system. Don't need a building with, I'm not sure how many people that works at YouTube, but maybe hundreds or something like that. We can see that it's probably not needed for most cases. So implementing a lighter system with information technology is going to create a really cool world, to be honest. So it's going to eat the world, it's going to eat every single industry, and that is cool. I can take a good example of how I can see how it's going to eat up the world and the internet at large. So for example, the experience for me right now of using the internet is not that pleasant, because many websites tries to feed you annoying ads where ads should not be. They have these large infrastructural teams that tries to make content that is going to a specific audience. They're trying to look at people used as consumers, and it's a very one-way relationship, and that kind of business is very heavy, because you need a lot of infrastructure to be able to focus in on a particular set of consumers and sort of try to make all the focus on that, instead of doing this whole infrastructure trying to make clickbait for a specific kind of audience. Why can't people just be more natural and genuine, and instead of having, the way clickbait works is you need thousands of people, like literally thousands of people to make a couple of dollars. You need thousands of different people across the world that clicks on something. They probably do not get that much rewards in terms of the experience. Maybe the article is, I don't know, some articles are very short these days. Maybe it's 200 words, maybe it's 180 words. So the experience for each person that clicks on that piece of content, and this is how most of the internet now is being run, they're not getting that much value. They're not really getting rewarded, and it's very resource heavy to get thousands of people to click on something just to make minor value. So it's not really that sustainable in the long run, because people are gonna look for ways, how can we use information technology to make this more light, to make it to remove all the heavy stuff. And the cool thing with information technology is it really decentralizes value systems, and it's just in the beginning phase of that, of course, which is kind of cool. So it was a very heavy system where value only can come from advertisers, because there is no system that is generating tokens or whatever. So all the value has to sort of come from advertisers. That is sort of a very resource heavy structure. So it sort of makes sense that information technology is going to eat that up and figure out a better system. So that's interesting. It's also very interesting how people don't just stop there. When they find something that makes their life easier, they're gonna keep investing into that field and see, can we do this again? Can we improve on the improvement? And that is really what we're seeing. And right now, I would say that we live sort of in a bubble in terms of the fiat market with real estate and all of that. It has sort of been, I mean, the bubble is sort of huge right now. So maybe they say a house is worth millions of dollars, but it's so much, it's not really tied to anything. And when you prop something up by just printing without any responsibility, eventually it's probably going to come crash hard down. Right now, if fiat were still, if it was a little bit more, if it was a little bit more care behind it, it would not be propped up so much. Ideally, the value should go up slower, because anything that goes up massive big time, too fast. There's something there that if the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It probably is. So to have something that is sort of sustainable, you need to have the value be wrapped up by some form of awesome system. And an awesome system can be a lot. For example, if humans have invested a lot of time and energy into a community, it is sort of, that value system is sort of backed up by something. It has some sort of weight to it, and I think that is where a lot of systems are gonna go in a virtual age. That instead of having this idea of, okay, we're gonna have this piece of land and we're gonna make up that this has this value, and yes, someone actually may pay for that stuff, because the way it sort of is designed right now is you only need a little bit of value, and then we're gonna create the rest from nothing. And how I think it's gonna go more in the future is people are gonna be more concerned about, like, has humans has a system or a community, has it really invested in humans and building up human beings that will say, or humans investing their time and energy into really caring about some system and really caring to make it grow and expand and innovate on it. And if you have a community like that, I think that is where people are gonna look at, okay, but this has clearly value. I mean, people will be able to look at something and see, okay, this has value because it sort of works. People have invested time and energy into this. They're doing a great work. So it's going to be a little bit more tied into reality, I guess you can say. It's not just built on sand, because humans are real. Humans are investing time and energy, while a piece of land is just sitting there. It's just sitting there. How much more is information technology gonna eat the world? That is a good question. Just as we need a horse or maybe our legs to move somewhere in the past, we did information technology and invented a car. And that is, we can't even imagine how much that speeded things up. Oh my god. Information technology, sure, it will eat the world much more, but it doesn't mean that, I mean, the concern for stuff on this planet, I mean, there's still a lot to do. There's still a lot of energy that should probably be invested into building communities. And that's probably going to be the big thing that people are going to move towards. Community building and investing in humans. So the system with information technology, when it eats the world, it's going to free up people. People have more time over, and eventually they're going to come to that point in terms of evolution that they're going to look at what should we base value on. And I think that eventually is going to go towards how strong is a community in terms of depth, not just the surface. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. I noticed that even probably smartphones are gonna look like a joke in a couple of years, even though that might sound super weird right now. It really might sound super weird, but it's not too weird if we just go back 10 years. Or wait a sec, if we go back 15 years, or to around 2005, could anyone imagine that we would use smartphones the way we're doing it right now? Probably not, because we didn't even have an iPhone then. So there's not really anything that seems to be slowing information technology down. So if you can do something already right now with a smartphone and it's super powerful, we can probably do it with a little bit of a smaller device, basically. Because, for example, if I just take this video, for example, I mean, would I need a whole smartphone to do this video? Or, let's look at this. How would you be able to make it much more efficient? Well, you only need some form of audio device. So you need a microphone. Microphone can be very small. And then you need a sort of a camera. And then that's it. You need some kind of recording device. But you don't really need a whole phone with all of the processing that probably goes on in the background and the heavy battery. You only need some form of lightweight camera and a microphone. And the question is, how small can you make this? And probably eventually we can move beyond that. I'm not really sure how that's going to be, but it's probably going to feel very natural when it arrives. And yes, a camera and microphone, it needs to be powered by something, probably. But if you look at innovations, they're probably going to make that. They're probably going to innovate on that side as well. Which means we live in very interesting times. For example, you'll be able to, I don't know, let's say you maybe have a camera that knows a lot about you, and it has this whole gallery. Okay, what kind of feeling, what kind of tone do you want to set with this video? And it just goes. Since we have right now, you can generate a random human, or there's a website called "This Person Does Not Exist," and it just regenerates a random human that does not exist. And I think that right now there's also another website. I don't remember the URL of it, but it's like "This cat does not exist." So why wouldn't we have eventually websites that allows you to generate a video of you that does not exist? Might sound super weird, but it's probably gonna come, because what you ideally can do, you can eventually scan your whole face, and you become, and then the background is fairly easy to fix. It just needs, it can be anything, right? So it sort of becomes like when you have some form of software that can scan your head and all that, and then tweak the background. You can basically detach the physical landscape for doing something, and in many ways then you only need a microphone if you want to, for example, record some form of sound. Sound is very interesting, because the interesting part about sound is the whole existence is sound. That's what experts say, and that is vibrations of sound, which sort of makes a lot of stuff happen. So sound is something that I have to consider much more. Maybe you can make that much more easier, but information technology, you can see that the way information technology is going to go is eventually, if you just need a mic, eventually that's kind of intense. Then the smartphone has basically transformed into probably something invincible eventually. So people will not even have to walk around with devices. You can make, and even this mic thing, you would probably be able to, it's practically gonna cost nothing. So you'll be able to have many copies of it. And for me personally, this is why I'm super excited about information technology, because I don't see an end to it. I used to see it become better and better and better and better, and it really means abundance in terms of what information can do. So the best movies, the best kind of content, the best kind of entertainment, this all can eventually then be created thanks towards information technology. And that is gonna eat the world completely. Because the only thing that humans right now sort of knows is information technology. That is mainly what we have invested in. You can also call it memory. Invested a lot of time into memory. And humans, in many ways, the body, there's a lot of stuff about memory that goes on. And memory is not everything. There is a part that's pure intelligence. There's a dimension in humans, which is pure intelligence, which does not operate from memory. But in terms of memory and information technology, that's going to be perfected. It's going to be perfected to... Yeah, it's going to be shocking to see how good it is. Which is, I don't know, it's super exciting. But we will never, out of memory, we'll never be able to recreate pure intelligence. Like that level of dimension that humans can access, pure intelligence, there's no way we're going to build some kind of information technology machine that can do that. And that's the cool part about humans. Is yes, we can do so much. We can have so much fun with information technology. Best entertainment, best knowledge, and all of this. But we'll never be able to, at least if you ask me, I mean, you will never be able to create pure intelligence, because then you have to create human consciousness, and I do not think we're going to do that. Not at least in 1,000 years. I don't know, maybe behind that, or maybe after 1,000 years. But nah. Right now we're just enhancing. We are enhancing what we already can do. So a microphone is enhancing something that we already can do, but it just makes it on a larger scale. So for example, instead of talking to a few people, a microphone gives a human access to reach more a wider audience, basically. So it's just about extending, I think it's called our faculties. So yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Information technology eating the world. Very exciting time to be alive, and it's gonna be fun to see the next 5 years, to see how stuff is going to change. Yeah, have an awesome day, YouTube and the Steam blockchain. Bye bye.